Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins, and welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we're starting this show out where we start every episode out, and that's at Hubcast Studios here in Vancouver.
Well, we've got a really packed show, so let's get right to Our City Tonight.
Well, if you're watching in the rest of the country, we are in historic Gastown in front of probably the most amazing tourist site you're going to see. It's the Steam Clock. And Lita and I are going to take a tour of the food of this area with this man.
That's great. We can't wait.
Well, part of the Vancouver food tour includes this incredible restaurant, Nuba, which, well, people around Vancouver know there's about 4 of these different restaurants because they're very popular.
Yes.
It's Lebanese, Middle Eastern. They mostly vegetarian, but they do carry meat, halal meat, for those that are meat eaters, which means that they've been humanely slaughtered. So, great restaurant. They source all of their ingredients more or less locally. So, awesome food, awesome drinks. Just a really, overall, a great spot to hit.
Yeah, I've been here a bunch of times for lunch. We should also mention, too, because we mentioned this in our show before, that you being gluten-free and I can't eat garlic, they are very accommodating here with something like that.
They don't have to change a lot.
No, they don't, actually. A good stop here on the food tour in Gastown. We're taking a little break in the food tour. We're here at a fabulous place called Salt and Blood Alley, correct?
That's right.
Carlos is taking us around right now, and we're going to take a little break and talk to him.
Great, and it's Gastown. You do Vancouver food tour in several different areas.
That's right.
How long have you been doing this?
We've been doing this since 2010. We're the original Vancouver food tour.
Wonderful.
And you also, we should say that we're in Gastown right now if you're watching the rest of the country, of course, but you also can customize your food and drink tours, can you not?
Absolutely, Jim. We specialize in accommodating almost all dietary preferences, and we change the tour accordingly and offer a very customized option if wanted.
So what's the weirdest request you've had for a food tour?
Well, the weirdest request, maybe not so weird anymore, is a cannabis food tour.
Yeah, well.
That's expected, of course, in this day and age.
It's about time.
Yeah, and you've done a vegan one as well.
Yes, absolutely. That is very popular. A lifestyle choice, our vegan food tour.
Do you get a lot of people coming from the rest of the country? We always talk on our show because we're national about the rest of the country, but do you get a lot of people that want to see Gastown and they want to experience it from a food perspective?
Absolutely. Well, Gastown at one time was the cocktail capital of Canada.
Oh.
And we certainly have a great deal of locations that offer handmade custom cocktails.
Very nice. Okay, let's go eat.
Well, we're right in the middle of it all here, aren't we, Carlos? And so what's the big deal with the guy behind us?
This here is Gassy Jack, also known as John Dayton. Now, his big claim to fame was that he opened up the very first bar here called the Globe Saloon. And
What are we talking?
24 hours.
What are we talking?
1867. We're talking February.
7. Wow.
And so why was he gassy?
Well, he was full of hot air. Yeah, he loved to tell stories, and anyone who was on his boat would hear a yarn, and they would have a little nip of whiskey.
Yeah, very cool. A lot of people get their photos right around here too, huh?
Exactly.
Well, let's get back to eating.
Let's do that.
Well, we're back with more food and great drinks here at the Irish Heather.
And Jim, did you know they opened 22 years ago on St. Patrick's Day?
Very appropriate. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Well, here in Gastown at L'Abattoir, they've been here 9 years, one of the good lasting fine dining restaurants here in this area.
All right, we're going to go to the back area and try some oysters.
Oysters,
and
yes.
an accompanying glass of white wine.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it. Let's get back there.
Well, we're out here at Hubcast Studios, and with us, if you're a regular viewer of Our City Tonight, you'll recognize this woman. Jennifer Friesen is with Genesis Richmond, and we're happy to have you back because we haven't had you on the show in a while,
Yeah.
and a lot happening in 2019. For people that don't know Genesis Richmond, why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a luxury brand, and we actually come to you. So basically, you don't ever have to come to a dealership. We'll bring the test drive to you, the purchase to you, and your servicing all to your home at your convenience.
Yeah, a friend of mine was saying that you came out just the test drive for the weekend kind of thing, and no dealership, which is always great, and you don't need to test drive in an area you don't know,
Yeah.
which I love. What have you guys got? What's new since we last saw you in late 2018?
Yeah, basically in January, our G70 was named North America's top car of the year.
Oh, that's okay to have on your mantle.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We were really excited about that.
One of the things that Lita and I have noticed when we've met with your customers and the testimonials is that you really do have a loyal base. People check you out and then they sample and then you got them. I mean, and you had a chance recently to talk to some of your customers that we were with you. Let's take a little look at that right now.
I started looking at Genesis. I saw an online social media post about Genesis. I hadn't heard anything and wasn't really looking for a new vehicle at that time, but started to do the research and the comparatives to the other German manufacturers out there, and did all the price comparisons, and pound for pound, dollar for dollar, I found it was by far the best option for its class. And got a hold of Jen, who came to my house within 2 hours and did a test drive with my daughter and I, and needless to say, I purchased the vehicle and have been a huge supporter and telling a lot of friends, and talked to Sean. Sean saw the vehicle and pass it over to you.
Well, I previously drove an Audi, and it was getting to that point where I wanted to trade it in. So just casually talking to Chuck, and he said, you know, you should check out the Genesis. So I called Jen, and she came out, and I took it for a drive, and I had to ask her a few times if the price was the real price, because it didn't even compare to the Audi. And the options that I got, it made it a really easy decision.
Well, those are some very complimentary words they're saying there. Obviously, you've got customers who turn friends on to becoming customers with Genesis Richmond.
Yeah, it was really funny, actually. They're great. They love their cars, obviously, and are happy and are telling their friends about their experience.
And you guys have really gone out and tried to find ways outside of the box, because it is extremely competitive, especially in the luxury car category. Vancouver's famous for luxury cars and selling lots of them. Have you found that you're getting really good response from people that you are doing things that are outside the box?
Absolutely. I think that people's time is so valuable, and the fact that we actually just come to them. I mean, I have customers that have never walked into a dealership, and they just do. I'm at their home all the time, and it was just back and forth to their house and online and texting. And I was texting with a customer at 9:30 last night. Just
nice.
Yeah.
And also, because you removed that thing you told Lita and I in the past, that people get stressed out as soon as they step on a car lot.
Absolutely.
So you've removed that.
Yeah.
For people that are interested, you can find Genesis Richmond online, but also we should say, come and see Jennifer up close and personal. Well, not really up and close, but you know what I'm talking about. At the Auto Show, which is coming up, I think, the 19th of March to the 24th?
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, Vancouver Convention Center. Definitely come by and see us.
Check it out up close and personal. It's Jennifer Friesen from one of our pals at Genesis Richmond. She joins us here at Hubcast Studios on Our City Tonight. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back to Hubcast Studios here in Vancouver, where we start every show and end every show. We're back here in the middle of the show, Lita, and we should let people know if they've got story ideas or comments, where can they find us?
They can find us at Our City Tonight, and we really look forward to hearing from you.
Well, all the award ceremonies, and they seem to go on forever at this time, from like last fall till now. All the award ceremonies are over, so we've had a number of viewers write in and say, you know, movies, what did you like, what did you not like? We're going to mention a couple of them. Many of them you can find for home viewing, which people always like to hear. And
the first one, Jim, I think that you've seen is Everybody Knows. It's still in theaters.
Absolutely, Lita. It's still in theaters. This is from a great director named Asghar Farhadi. Now, I've loved two of the movies I've seen with this guy. The first one being The Salesman and A Separation. This guy's from Iran, does great movies. This is not as good as the ones I've just mentioned, but you've got Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem. Now, often couples who are married in real life don't exactly sizzle on the screen.
No.
These guys do. This is a fantastic film that involves the kidnapping at a wedding. A wonderful movie. These two should be forced to act together more often. The movie should be allowed to be seen in our country. I loved Everybody Knows, as I said, not as good as Farhadi's last bit of work, but really enjoyable. Everybody Knows is in studios now. Hey, I wanted to ask you about a film that I'm looking forward to watching, and this is Never Look Away.
Oh, goodness. Well, it was 3 hours, but it's interesting. After about 2 hours, I was sort of wondering, hey, this is going on a long time, but it is compelling. It really is compelling, and I finished it.
Yeah, no, but you said to me too, you didn't notice the 3 hours, and that's
Not
always
completely.
a good sign.
No.
And you know, the thing you wanted to see this movie because we both love The Lives of Others, which was an Oscar-winning movie from 2006 and was in my top 10 movies of the first decade. So if you like that movie, check this out because it takes place in the 1950s.
There's a bit of a span. The story just follows this family and some of the atrocities that actually happened.
The Nazi tie-in.
Yeah,
too,
and it's really an artist's movie.
Yeah, that's what you said. Now, it's interesting because one of my favorite movies of 2014 was A Labyrinth of Lies, which takes place in the same 1950s Germany period about a lawyer who discovers the whole concentration camp that had never been learned in school by him. So anyway, some great films there. I think one more we want to mention, we should, it was nominated for Best Foreign Movie, is Cold War.
Yes, which I actually got to catch, and you've seen it as well. A little bit different, a shorter movie, very easy to watch.
90 minutes compared to when you were just about 3 hours, but it doesn't take away from how good it is.
No, it is really good, and it's beautifully shot.
And this is another movie that takes place from the just after World War II to about the late 60s, all in Poland during the Russian occupation and everything like that. A tragic love story, but beautifully shot. I mean, this is something you'd want to see on a big screen. So if you're watching at home, make sure you have a big screen to watch it on. Anyway, those are a bunch of movies. Of course, Green Book wins the Oscar recently, and if you haven't seen that, it's worth seeing as well. So that's a little movie review here at Hubcast Studios. Now, let's get back to our city tonight. Well, it has been some time since we visited our good friend Harbir Sayan. He is our eye care specialist, and we're out here in Surrey at Clarity Eye Care. Pal, it's been a while, so it's good to be back because we want to talk about eye care today.
It's great to have you guys.
Thanks
for coming back.
Well, we haven't been back for 10 months, and that brings me to my first question, is that I have noticed since we had our great eye exams, where you looked at the eye health and just very, very specific, looking at our eyes and finding out what was wrong with our eyes, my eye health, well, my vision has actually decreased.
Right.
So why is that?
Well, I assume that's for your near vision mainly.
Yes,
Is that
reading.
the reading vision, and that as try to put this as gently as I can, is more so related to age than anything else, as we know. It's something that we all have to deal with eventually. Usually starts in our sort of early 40s, and it does decline a little from there, right? And for some people, it's a sort of a steady decline, and for others, it feels like you just fell off a cliff one morning.
Wow,
But ultimately, we all end up at the same level, and it does stabilize, right? And usually,
thank heavens.
8 to 10 years of a little bit of change, and then it'll start to stabilize, and our prescription is more stable from that point.
How important, we talked about this last time we were here with the examinations, Lita said, we had a thorough examination. I hadn't had one of those in a very long time. How important is it for people watching right now to get their eyes checked, young, old, not just because you think you need glasses?
It's incredibly important, and that is essentially all ages, and we usually recommend the first eye exam at age 1 or roughly around that point. Yeah, that's quite early, I know, but at that point we're looking for just some very, a few basic sort of important details in the baby's eyes. But of course, as we get older, we look for more and more, as you guys experienced during your eye exams, many different points, levels of examination, from vision to eye health. And it's not just vision, because we can actually determine a lot of health-related things through the eyes. In some cases, systemic issues like blood pressure and diabetes and cholesterol and those kinds of things as well.
Now I find, is it true that when I'm a little bit more tired towards the end of the day, I really find that my eyes get a little fuzzy?
Yeah, and that happens just like the rest of your body, right?
Fuzzy body.
Fuzzy body, well, not fuzzy, but tired.
Mornings like that.
That's there are muscles in our eyes that do a lot of our focusing for us, and if our whole body is tired, then those muscles will likely be tired as well.
Okay. Mystery solved.
Good to know.
Hey, we're going to come back and talk more with Harbir about other eye-related things that you need to know. That's coming up with Harbir Sayan later in Our City Tonight.
This episode of Our City Tonight has been sponsored in part by Gyrostone Limited, home exteriors that last a lifetime.
Well, if you're downtown, there's a place you might want to check out here at the Listle Hotel. There's two sister restaurants. One of them, Timber. We are not there right now. We're at the sister restaurant, which is called Forage, open for brunch. Close in the afternoon. That's why we're in here shooting right now. And then a great dinner. Check them out, Robson and Jervis. It's Forage.
And we're here with one of my longtime friends. We were trying to figure out when we met. It was back in the late 80s. And Don Alder, one of, well, you're an absolute guitar superstar. And I know you're very humble about that. But if I read off some of the things, Worldwide Guitar Idol, you're the UK Guitar Superstar Champion, International Fingerstyle Champion, not to mention all the other awards you've won in the last couple years. In fact, Artist of the Year, Vancouver Island Music Awards. It goes on and on and on. And we would do the whole interview with just your awards. But it's interesting because you're worldwide famous, but when you come and play here sometimes it's like hometown syndrome. It always is. But you are specialist of fingerstyle acoustic guitar. Yep. So can you explain a little bit of that to what's the difference?
Sure. Well, first, thanks to all these titles. I mean, a good glass of wine at $10 Canadian could buy off any judge. So there you go. Cheers.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so fingerstyle, basically most styles of guitar playing are using fingerstyle. So really it's just using these fingers. So you see classical guys doing this, you see jazz guys doing this. So that's just the general classification. Now I play acoustic guitar, that's my primary instrument, and I'm playing fingerstyle on that. So while this hand's doing something, I'm picking on that. But what's new about this generation of fingerstyle players is we're thinking more like piano players. Oh. So we're not doing the left and right tied together, we're actually doing two different parts at the same time.
Well, I've seen you play quite a few times now in a more intimate environment and a concert environment, and everyone is really seriously blown away. This man's fingers just move so quickly.
And I tell you what, you're doing something right. When I was looking at your page and looking at you online and everything, that you've got someone like Lee Ritenour, who I really like, and then you've got someone like Carly Rae Jepsen, and no diminishment to her either, both praising you. That's a great cross-section of playing of music. You really seem to appeal to everybody. Can you talk about your approach, say, when you're going on stage, or what you plan to record?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been a very organic process from the bedroom. I don't really have any music training. So basically, I was a kid just banging on things.
It's like Clapton saying that. It's like,
well, a lot of these guys are actually like that. I mean, and it's not about being good, it's about more of a popular thing, right? I mean, some of the best artists, we call them the best, but musically, they're not the best. Sure. They're just popular and people love their style of music. So for me, it was kind of just that journey where we couldn't afford lessons, just try to create something. And what I learned is that if you own it and believe in it and just fierce with it and are honest with it, people like it.
And play what you like, too.
It
inspires you, right?
Yeah. And you recently signed on with Fret Records.
Fret Monkey Records,
Monkey Records. And, well, I mean, again, the list goes on. You played with Chris Hadfield. So what's coming up for you, and what is your most recent CD?
Yeah, let's talk about this new CD.
Well, this is actually kind of old. I'm working on a new one right now with Fret Monkey Records. But we had a strategy as to produce it in the U.S. so we could submit it for a Grammy, hopefully, and we'll see what happens. But this was back in, 2015, maybe 2017, I think. And it received a couple of awards, which is nice. Wow. And it's primarily fingerstyle, but I wanted to branch out and make sure it had other music as well. So there's some produced songs, singer-songwriter tunes, as well as doing like a duet with in a band format with Billy Sheehan. You guys familiar with Mr. Big? Yeah. And so when I asked him to do work on a song, is because I met him through Yamaha. So it's interesting, opportunities lead to other opportunities, right? And that's how I met Lee Ritenour as well, too.
Very nice.
And you've had a guitar named after you.
A few of them, yeah. Not that that means anything.
No, I had a tambourine named after me once.
I have a few cowbells, too.
Really? Okay.
I can get one for you, too.
Listen, we look forward to seeing the new CD, and that will be out when? Can you give us an idea when it'll be out?
Probably before end of year.
End of year?
We're trying to think of who we want to play on and stuff like that.
Very nice.
And you have a concert coming up, too.
I've got a concert coming up on May 16th at the Columbia Theatre in New Westminster.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think tickets will be available for that soon. But even more importantly, and it's about giving back to the community and kids who can't afford lessons, like my position was. So Chris Schultz from Horizon School of Music on March 3rd, I think it's at 333 Terminal Avenue. You can go search for this. and it's going to be a free guitar lesson day from world-class instructors for anybody that's in Vancouver.
And will that also be something that will carry on after March 3rd?
It'll actually, yes, and carry on. He's started a foundation that's going to start working on Get Kids lessons, but this event will be an annual event as well going forward. So
excellent, thank you.
So it should be a
Don
lot of fun.
Alder, actually a BC boy, grew up in Williams Lake, superstar guitar.
Thank you so much.
Definitely look forward to more concerts.
Cheers,
from
cheers.
you.
Thank you, Don.
And thank you to Forage for welcoming us here today when they're closed, but come check them out when they're open. Great brunches, breakfasts, and great meals at night, and good craft beer and wine. I think we got it all covered. Forage on Robson. Cheers. Well, we're back here at Clarity Eye Care in Surrey with our eye care specialist, Dr. Harbir Sayan, and we're glad to be back because we got more to talk about your eyes.
And we're here at Clarity Eye Care. Now, as it gets a bit sunnier as we're moving into the spring months, I guess people don't really think about protecting their eyes when it's gray outside, but you've let us know that that's really important to do as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We often just associate UV and the effects of UV with sunlight, but UV actually does penetrate the clouds as well. So even on those cloudy days, we do need to make sure we're protecting our eyes, and sunglasses or a hat or anything that you can do to make sure your eyes are shaded up.
But there's ways to, I mean, it's getting sunny. We've got a beautiful sunny day today, that there's a way to protect UV protection from screens as well, right?
That's right, yeah. We refer to that more so as blue light, even though it is sort of in that UV light kind of category. And so there are different types of lenses that will filter out that blue light, that high energy light, and protect your eyes from the screens, give you more comfortable vision. And those lenses do often protect you from that sunlight as well when you're outside.
Oh, great.
One thing that I've been guilty of over the years, not lately, is buying the really cheap $10 sunglasses. I tend to lose them. But these really aren't helping or protecting your eyes.
Not particularly, no, because the materials they're made from are generally the cheaper materials, and there's unfortunately no way to know if they're officially passing the standards that we are required to pass when we're selling glasses in a store like ours, an office like ours.
Geez, and your eyes are so important. It makes sense to, you know, if you're eating quality food and you're buying quality clothing, quality glasses, Jim, definitely is a good idea.
No, but I got onto that train of thought. Same thing with like getting proper eye reading glasses. I was guilty of using cheaters, as we call them, for a long time.
Right.
And I remember you saying to me that they're not bad, but they're not going to give you obviously the same support that a proper pair of eyeglasses are.
But here at Clarity Eye Care too, you can go for very expensive frames, but you've got the reasonable, you know, someone who's on a budget frames, but they're all beautiful, it seems.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely tried to carry the full range, and that's from the more affordable sort of for the price conscious customer to, of course, your more luxury eyewear, if you want to call it that, and we try to make sure we can serve everybody's needs.
You've got, you're very active on social media, so for our viewers out there that maybe want to get more information on your place here and other things, can you talk about where they can find you?
Absolutely, yeah. We love social media, and Instagram is usually the best these days. So for the office, it's clarity.eyecare, and for personally, harbirsayan.od.
Excellent. Always great to come out here and see you in Surrey. Lee and I are downtown. We often get lost when we come out here because it is one of Canada's biggest cities.
Well, maybe it's because you need new glasses, Jim.
Possibly, or new navigation. Yeah. Thank you. You know a firm that you look at on your phone that tells you where you're supposed to go. Anyway, that's our fault, but that did not take away from us enjoying another excellent moment with you here today. Yeah. We'll be talking with you later this year for more information on how you can care for your eyes. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Harbir Sayan.
Well, we're here downtown Vancouver at Pacific Centre at the brand new Root store, but there's something a little different here at this Root store. It's called an experience store, and we've got David to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we've seen retail transform from a place that just houses products that people buy to this declining traffic and a shift a little bit to online. Retail is now trying to create places that people come to more often, dwell a little bit longer. It's a tougher game. This is Root's attempt at that, and they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and David, you of course are the expert who tracks retail trends, and we were talking a couple weeks ago, you and I, Lita, about how if you don't evolve, you die. And we've seen many examples of that in our country and in the States where legendary long-term places have just gone under because they're not adapting. Can you talk a little bit about what Roots is doing and what other places are doing to survive and evolve?
Yeah, and I love the way you put that because, you know, retail is not dead.
Yeah.
It's truly evolving.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience is the word that's used a lot today.
That's a good word, yeah, experience, yeah.
And so where we see a lot of closures are really old school legacy retailers that have not learned how to adapt. And the adapted world is we do all our browsing. We don't do window shopping so much in stores anymore. You know, we're doing all that online. So and mall traffic generally is same old, same old. So traffic's down. So how do we get people in? And that's the trend.
But malls, are people going into malls but then seeing stuff and then going home and doing it online? Like, depending on your age?
Do you know, the research supports some of that, but that's not, they do that when the store offers nothing to them.
So what makes coming into the store so unique then?
Yeah, that's sort of what Roots is really working on here with this prototype store. They got a few of them. And there's a couple of features. One is you wouldn't spot, obviously, but the fixturing is highly flexible and mobile. So the idea here is they're going to change the configuration of the store on a pretty regular basis so it doesn't get stale to the shopper.
Oh.
There's also some unique features in the store. For example, they're doing some personalization of the leatherwork.
Oh, yeah.
That you can have done in the store.
Cool.
And in the prototype stores, if that works, they may start rolling it out more and more. But they're going to try and have features that are unique to the store and enable the store to morph over time.
Perfect.
Yeah, the leather thing is very cool from the store there. So, David, thank you. Really appreciate you coming on today and talking about retail trends. I know there's trends probably coming that people like Lita and I don't even realize yet that you're probably analyzing right now, but thank you for meeting with us today in this Roots store.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
So, I love playing guitar, but these days, like everything, things evolved, and now we don't just play guitar, but we play drums with the guitar. So you start off with a basic drum beat, a little bit of hi-hats, then you add the bass. Then you add the rhythm and melody like this.
Closed captioning for this episode of Our City Tonight has been brought to you by Gyrostone Limited, home exteriors that last a lifetime.
Well, we're back here at Hubcast Studios, and that means we're at the end of the show.
I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight. Genesis Richmond. Test drive, purchase, maintenance. They come to you.